Chapter 9. The Sandstorm. The gates of the city opened and they went through narrow streets to a square. Castles showed Daniel a large object eye, the eye of Ra, the sun god, on a wall, and everyone went down on their knees. They probably think Ra sent us, Daniel said. The sky grew suddenly darker and people began hurrying from the square. It's a sandstorm, O'Neill said. Ferretti tried the radio, but it didn't work because of the storm. They heard a strange noise about the sound of the storm, and when the pyramid began to shake, they thought the earth was moving. They couldn't see the golden pyramid-shaped starship landing on the pyramid they were in. It came down to sit perfectly on the top. Seconds later, Ferretti heard something behind him. He turned and saw someone much larger than him with the head of a dog. Chapter 10. The Goddess in White. Shauri took Daniel secretly to a building. They went down some stairs deep underground and she opened the door. Inside a small empty room, she pointed at the stone wall. Daniel saw the same sign for Earth, which also meant Ra, the sun god. It was the only writing in the room. Daniel felt the sign, pressed it, and they jumped with surprise when a secret door opened. They saw writing all over the walls inside, and as soon as Daniel saw it, he was sure. Shauri's language was almost the same as Egyptian. There were pictures of Anubis, the dog-headed god pushing people through the StarGate and making them travel across the sky to another world. Daniel asked Shauri about a picture of a pyramid shining in the sky. A boy stood below it, lifting his arms to the light. What do the pictures say? He said. Daniel said a traveler escaped from a world where he was weak and dying. He searched the stars looking for a way to live longer. He came to a world and changed his body into the shape of their people, so that he could live until the end of time. He took the body of a boy who called himself Ra, the sun god, and brought thousands of prisoners here through the StarGate to mine, to the wonderful white stone. Then there was trouble. Once while he was here, people on Earth killed Ra's guard and hid the StarGate under the ground, so he couldn't return. Ra did not want his prisoners here to know anything. He didn't want them to know the true story about him, so he stopped all reading and writing. The StarGate will never work without the seventh sign, O'Neill said. Chapter 11. The Blue Light. O'Neill, Kowalski, Brown, and Daniel left the city without noticing that Skara was following them on little bit. Soon they saw the golden pyramid sitting on top of the stone one. It's the starship, Daniel said. O'Neill felt the key to the bomb in his pocket. He had secret orders to use it if they found danger to Earth, and that starship looked like a big danger. When they came closer, they saw the tents broken by the sandstorm. Inside, O'Neill and Daniel saw Ferretti's head next to the radio. Then they heard shouts. They hid quickly and watched a large man with the head of Horus, the Egyptian bird god. The bird god walked past. He His clothes were metal and he carried a long straight weapon with a piece of the shining white stone at its end. When the birdman was gone, they hurried to the StarGate room. He quickly opened the secret part of the box and saw that the bomb was not there. Suddenly, two Horus men were standing at the door. Between them was a much bigger man with the head of the dog god, Anubis. He came towards them pointing his strange weapon, his metal clothes shining. Daniel was so frightened he dropped O'Neill's gun. The dog man pushed Daniel and O'Neill into the next room and into the circle of white stone on the floor. Immediately, a strange blue light began to grow inside the circle, and the next thing Daniel knew, he and O'Neill were standing in a different room. Anubis touched a shining stone on his throat, and his dog's mask opened to show a man's head inside. Daniel noticed that the sun god's skin wasn't gold now but light brown, and his mask was opening too. Inside was the face of a handsome young man about 20 years old. He pointed at O'Neill and said in Egyptian, "Kill him." Daniel saw an Anubis point his weapon at O'Neill and jumped to stop him. A line of light shot from the white stone on the weapon's hand. Daniel felt something which hit his heart. Then everything went black. Another line of light shot from the weapon and O'Neill fell to the floor. Chapter 12. Only one Ra. Skara saw a door open in the side of the starship. A minute later, when he was leaving, Skara saw clouds of black smoke coming from the city. Inside the city, houses were burning everywhere. The streets were full of dead. Skara saw his sister, Shauri, busy helping people. "Where is Danyur?" he asked. Skara was sure that Daniel was dead, but he said he didn't know. She turned away crying. A large stone coffin lay in a room in the starship. Its heavy stone top slowly opened. Daniel's body lay inside. The hole in his heart was gone. His eyes opened and Daniel sat up reborn. "I died," Daniel said in Shauri's language. "I can mend your body so easily," Ra said. "Thousands of years ago I went to your world. I was millions of 2 light years away from home, searching for another body to live in. I was dying. My people were dying. I took the body of a young man and made myself into a god. It was so easy. Earth people are so stupid. I gave you science, a language, everything, and now it is time for me to take them away again. I am going to end your world. Then why am I alive again? Then why am I alive again?" Daniel asked. "I have a body like yours, but I am not like you inside. I have I have no love, no kindness. You are alive again because I must show my people again that there is only one God, one Ra. Tomorrow, in front of the miners, you kill your soldier friends for me. When the three suns came up, a Horus guard came to the city. Take Ra's people to the house of their god, he ordered Kasuf. Everybody shouted Ra. As the golden boy god came outside, he sat down in his golden chair and Anubis walked over to Daniel. The crowd was sure that the dog god wanted to kill him. Anubis put his weapon in Daniel's hands and pointed at O'Neill, Kowalski, and Brown. Something in the crowd shone in Daniel's eyes. He saw Skara using a piece of glass to shine sunlight at him. Skara opened his coat and showed the gun hidden inside. Daniel showed Skara he understood. Then shouted, Great Ra orders me to kill my brothers. He pointed the weapon at O'Neill, but instead of shooting him, he turned suddenly and shot at Ra. O'Neill jumped up, hit an Horus guard to his weapon and shot at Ra too. Skara did the same, but Ra was already inside the pyramid. O'Neill killed both Horus guards with his weapon, but more guards were coming at him. Minutes later, Ra called the pilot to his room. We lost them in the storm, Great Ra, the pilot said. Ra smiled and put a small ring of the white stone round his hand. The ring began to shine. Don't be afraid, he said, his hand coming up to touch the pilot's head. For a few seconds, the man shone brightly, shaking, screaming before he turned into nothing. Chapter 14. Nowhere to run. Daniel said, Why didn't you tell anybody about the bomb, O'Neill? My orders are to send you home, then to search for any possible danger for Earth. If I find any, I have to blow up the StarGate. Well, guess what? I found danger. A lot of it. The bomb is Ra's now, Daniel said. Tomorrow he is going to send it back to Earth, 1,000 times stronger. Listen, Daniel said. The real danger is not the bomb here, but the StarGate on Earth. As long as it's working, he can always go there. We have to close it again forever. When Daniel woke up the next morning, Shauri came to him and O'Neill. Skara has an idea, she said. Today is one of the special days when we take the white stone to the house of Ra and send it away through the StarGate. We can hide the bags of stone. Later, Daniel saw Skara painting a pyramid on the wall of the cave. When he painted 3 suns above it, Daniel jumped up and joined the suns and the pyramid into a shape. Look, he shouted. That's the 7th side. Chapter 15. Countdown. The miners left the mine with their masters going towards the pyramid. They were so frightened of the Horus guards that only one guard was with thousands of miners. A man fell down in the heat. The guard came over to hit him. Suddenly the miner turned over and shot the guard dead. It was O'Neill. Daniel and Scara pulled guns from their mine's clothes. "Stop!" Kosov shouted. The sun god will be angry again." The other miners, who were as frightened as Kosov, didn't know what to do. Daniel pressed a stone on the dead guard's mask. It opened to show a man's face. "Is this a god?" he shouted. "Look, he is like you." Soon the miners arrived at the pyramid. Ra watched the long line of people from a window. He was sure that the Earthmen were among them. He called Anubis, take the bomb to the StarGate room. If the Earthmen get inside, kill them all again and send their bomb to Earth. O'Neill, Daniel, and Shaurya ran to the StarGate room. The bomb was in pieces on a table. Daniel pushed the first sign round to its place, then saw O'Neill putting the bomb together. He pushed the orange key into the bomb's lock and turned it. The stone's terrible white fire burned brighter and brighter inside Daniel's head. Seeing the blue light growing brighter, Daniel suddenly remembered how it cut through Shaurya's dress. Forgetting the burning fire in his head, he took Ra's arm and held the burning ring on his head. Ra didn't understand. Why did the stupid man want to do this? Did he want to die more quickly? Ra saw the blue light growing brighter and tried to pull his hands out of the circle. The blue light in the circle grew brighter, and suddenly in place of Daniel lay the head of Ra's terrible killer, Anubis. Ra knew he had to get to the coffin. It could grow back his lost arm, and he knew that he had to escape. The miners knew now that he wasn't a god. He could hear the angry crowd outside. A line of blood followed him to the golden chair. He touched a white stone on the chair's arm, and the starship's machine started. Chapter 16. At last O'Neill found the key. He ran to the bomb, put the key in the lock, turned it, and nothing happened. The clock kept on counting down. Why didn't it stop? Daniel woke up, looked around, and saw Shaurya walking up to her. They were both alive. Then he suddenly remembered the bomb. He looked into the StarGate room and saw O'Neill busy with it. He could see the bright red numbers counting down. Suddenly the starship turned into a great white ball of fire in the sky. "And he is never coming back," O'Neill replied. Kosov came to Daniel. "For thousands of years we were his prisoners," the old man said. "Now, thanks to Daniel, he is only a cloud of smoke." He lifted Daniel's arm in the air, and thousands of miners shouted their thanks. Daniel stayed there and the other soldiers went back to Earth.